Shalom, shalom, Israel, shalom, shalom. Right, brother Thawam, coming at you with these precepts and another cold cut, giving first and foremost all honor and all glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh being in the name of the Most High, right, who the world calls God. Yahweh Shai being the name of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Right, we titled this one The Grapes and the Gatherers, right, the Grapes and the Gatherers. So we're going to kick it off with Sirach, chapter 33 and verse number 16. Right? This is Sirach chapter 33 and verse 16. It says, I awaked up last of all, as one that gathereth after the grape gatherers, by the blessing of the Lord, I profited and filled my winepress like a gatherer of grapes. Right? So when you go into the law, you got your grapes, you got your gatherers, right? Let's get into it. Let's go to the law, right? Leviticus 19. Right? Salakia. Leviticus chapter 19 and verse number 9. And it reads, and when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corners of thy field, neither shalt thou gather the gleanings of thy harvest. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather every grape of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and stranger. I am Yahweh, your God. So even in the ancient world, like we're an industrial people. We're people that deal with cattle. We deal with what they call farming, right? Agricultural people. So when it comes to the gleaning, the gathering, working in fields, that's that should be nothing new to our people, but it is because we're in this captivity. It is because we were, a lot of us, most of us, majority of us were raised in cities. So we don't know what it really takes as a people, as a nation anymore, what it takes to grow plants, to grow, to tend to a garden, to tend to a farm, to deal with cattle, right? Planting seeds, making sure certain seeds got certain amount of sunlight, making sure it's getting enough water, making sure that you're, you know, treating the land properly, right? You have a land Sabbath where you till the land for 6 years. On that seventh year, you got to give it rest, right? You got to let it rest for 7 years, and then you can come back to it and till that land again, right? But the Lord told us in Leviticus 19 and 9 that when you do have a harvest, I mean, when you do have a vineyard, when you have a land with corn, grapes, rye, wheat, whatever it is that you may be growing, you can't take everything down. You have to leave some for the stranger, right? And then the Lord reiterates it in Deuteronomy chapter 24. Deuteronomy chapter 24, Salakia. Deuteronomy 24 and verse 21. Come. Deuteronomy 24 and 21, it says, when thou gatherest the grapes of thy vineyard, thou shalt not glean it afterwards. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. And thou shalt remember that thou was a bondman in the land of Egypt. Therefore, I command thee to do this thing. So we have to understand that these grapes represent the knowledge, right? It represents wisdom from the Most High, right? And our forefathers set up a foundation for us to come in afterwards, right? So I'm gonna read Sirach 33 and 16 again, right? To bring it back to start making more sense, so you can have the understanding, right? Sirach 33 and 16 again, it says, I waked up last of all, as one that gathereth after the grape gatherers. By the blessing of Yahweh, I profited and filled my winepress like a gatherer of grapes. So now, who was the ones that laid that foundation, right? Who are the ones that we're following after, right? Matthew chapter 5 and verse number 12. right? Yahweh Shah said this. He says, rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. So the prophets, the Israelites from old, they were persecuted before us. Salakia. They were persecuted before the disciples and the apostles were on the scene. So these are the men that were gathering the grapes early. These were the men that were reaping, right? Reaping in the harvest early. And now we're coming afterwards and we're gathering. So when you go back to Deuteronomy 24 and 21, the latter end of the verse, it says, it shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. That's for us. We're sojourners in a strange land. We're the strangers. We're the fatherless, right? We were out here for years and years not knowing who we were. We were out here without a father. And we linked on Christianity to be our stepfather, right? Islam to be our stepfather. We linked on all of these other religions and doctrines, right, of these devils to be our stepfather when the whole time we left from our true father, right? Yahweh, right? In the name of his son Yahweh Shah, right? And for the widow. Why? Because Israel is the widow, right? We're supposed to be the wife of the Lord, but we're out here playing a harlot and we're as a woman without a head, without a husband. So now coming back to the precepts, coming back to this Bible in these last days, we understand that we are the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, right? We're the ones that need Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, right? So I'm gonna read that one more time. Matthew 5 and 12. He says, rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. And I'm gonna get another one in Matthew 13 and 17, right? Matthew 13 and 17, he says, for verily I say unto you that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear and have not heard them. So he's talking to the apostles. He's talking to his disciples, letting them know that you're blessed for even knowing this truth. You're blessed for knowing Yahweh Shai. You're blessed for seeing the miracles that he's doing. So they're blessed for seeing those things, right? But us coming in these last days, we're blessed for having an understanding that the apostles didn't have. We're blessed because we have an understanding that Daniel didn't have. We're blessed because we have an understanding that John the Revelator didn't have. These men received revelations from the Most High God, and these revelations weren't revealed to them in full, right? These revelations, these things that uh, 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 the images, the accounts, right? The words of the Lord that came to them, they received these things, but they didn't have a full understanding of what was going on. They didn't see those things happen. And even us now, we're reading Revelations, but we're actually, living out a lot of these prophecies that's written in Revelations. A lot of these prophecies that's written in Isaiah. Isaiah got all these dreams, he got all these visions, he got all of these different words from the Most High, but he didn't get to physically see these things. But look at us living it. And so now how are we supposed to act and how are we supposed to move knowing this? Right? We got to get our spirits in order, right? And so like I wanted to get this quick precept and what I want, Second Peter, right? Just to answer that question. Second Peter chapter 3 and verse number 11. I'm gonna start at 11 and get to the point. He says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. So we got to be walking as the apostles, as the disciples. We have to be walking as men and women and children of the Most High God. We have to be walking as true Israelites in this thing. Not just an Israelite because you were born an Israelite, but an Israelite because your spirit has been reborn. You have been washed by the water. You have been washed by the blood of Yahweh Shai. And now you're walking as a true Israelite, keeping the commandments of the Most High and the faith in Yahweh Shai, right? So the prophets, these were the men, these were the gatherers, these were the original gatherers, the seers, the men that went out and they said, "Thus saith the Lord." They went out, they told Israel what ought to be done. They went out, they got these visions, and they proclaimed it to the people, right? And then our people were eating off of that. We were fed from that, right? And I wanted to get one more through the Spirit. In Jeremiah chapter 44, Salaki. Jeremiah chapter 44 and verse number 4, right? Jeremiah 44 and 4, it says, I'm going to start at 3. It says, because of their wickedness, which they have committed to provoke me to anger, and that they went to burn incense and to serve other gods whom they knew not, neither they, you, nor your fathers, howbeit I sent unto you all my servants the prophets, rising early and sending them, saying, oh, do not this abominable thing that I hate. So the Most High sent us these prophets. He sent us the men, right, to proclaim what we ought to be doing. Don't do this abominable thing. Don't do these wicked acts that the Most High hates. Don't sin against your God. Don't break the laws. Don't break the commandments. Don't deal unjustly. Don't bring a lame sacrifice to the altar, right? Don't abuse your wife. Don't abuse your children, right? Don't be a sodomite, a homosexual, right? Don't stop shaving your beard. Stop eating pork, right? Telling our people what they ought to do and they don't listen, right? So now these generations have passed. And so now what? These grapes are still left in the corners. And we're coming back to that and getting this understanding. And I want to get this in Second Ezra's. So like it. Second Ezra's chapter, what I want. Second Ezra's chapter 1, and I'm gonna start at verse 35. Second Ezra chapter 1 and verse 35. Now, this is the Lord speaking to the generations before ours, right? Speaking to the generations before us, right? He says, your houses will I give to a people that shall come, which not having heard of me, yet shall believe me, to whom I have showed no signs, yet they shall do that I have commanded them. And that's talking about us. That's talking about us in this generation now. And Lord willing, me, myself, my family, the brothers I may labor with, and whoever's on this live, and whoever may watch this live later on, right? Lord willing, we're accounted worthy of being a part of this number, right? Being a part of this people that he's speaking about right here, right? I'm gonna read 36 again. They have seen no prophets, yet they shall call their sins to remembrance and acknowledge them. I take to witness the grace of the people to come, whose little ones rejoice in gladness. And though they have not seen me with bodily eyes, yet in spirit they believe the thing that I say. And how many of us have really seen the miracles of the Most High? I mean, I'm talking about the bigger miracles, right? We watch how people wake up time and time again. Those are miracles. Even us waking up ourselves and just waking up day to day, waking up physically day to day, but even a spiritual awakening that our people go through, those are miracles all in itself. But I'm talking on like, you wasn't on the ark with Noah. You know what I'm saying? We didn't see that. We wasn't out there with Moses when the Red Sea was parted, right? We wasn't with Elisha when he opened the eyes of his servant and he seen all of the chariots and all of the angels of the Lord sitting on the mountain. We wasn't with Judas Maccabeus when the Most High had the chariots, had him betwixt two chariots and they were protecting him on either side, right? We didn't see all of these things, but yet we're here and we're reading this Bible and we're believing it wholeheartedly. And a lot of us are believing it wholeheartedly to the point where we'll go outside and we'll proclaim the words of the Most High. We ain't asking for no money. We ain't asking you for, to do anything but to receive the words of the Lord, right? We're not gaining anything physical from it, right? We're not gaining money from this. Nobody's giving us houses and mansions. We're not riding around in Bentleys and Jaguars and Lexuses, right? We're not We're not rich like that. Not as a nation. You may have some Israelites that may got some money, but as a nation, we kind of down bad. But yet here we are having faith in something, right? Verse 37. I'm gonna read that one more time. I take to witness the grace of the people to come, whose little ones rejoice in gladness, and though they have not seen me with bodily eyes, right? We haven't laid physical eyes on Yahweh Shah, right? Or the Most High. Yet in spirit they believe the thing that I say. And now, brother, behold what glory, and see the people that come from the east, right? Jerusalem. We're that people, the Israelites. We are the people that come from the east. But where we at? We're scattered abroad. But where we're from, Israel, Jerusalem. Behold the people that coming from the east, unto whom I will give for leaders Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Oseas, right? Hosea, Amos, and Micah, Joel, Abadias, right? Obadiah, and Jonah, Nahum, Abekik, right? Zephanias, Haggaius, Zachary, right? Zechariah, and Malachi, which is called also an angel of the Lord, right? And the Lord said that our leaders now are these people. But how is it that Abraham is leading us right now? How is Isaac, right? Micah, Joel, Nahum, Jonah, how are they leading us right now? They're leading us through the accounts that are written. They're leading us through the Lord. They're leading us through us reading about what they've prophesied right through the Spirit of the Most High. They're leading us through the accounts that they left behind for us to read and to understand. All right, the righteousness that our forefathers did, we got to move in this spirit. The wickedness that our forefathers did, we can't move in that spirit. These are the grapes that are left behind. These are the leaders of our people, and the leaders of our people are all in this book. You don't have to follow you don't have to dig up Abraham and go follow him, right? He left an account, and these accounts that we read about, that's how we're being led. We're being led in the spirit. You're not being led physically. You're being led in the spirit. So when you're reading Second Ezra chapter 1, verse starting at 39 on down, these leaders are talking. It's talking about these precepts. It's talking about the word of the Most High God. So that's what we got to follow. Those men are the gatherers. Those men are the ones that left these grapes for us to come gather in these last days so that we can fill our wine presses, so that we can have wine. All right. Let me get two more before I close up through the spirit. All right. This is Salakia. This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, and verse number 5. Salakia, before I get that, I also wanted to get this. And First Corinthians chapter 4 and 9. First Corinthians 4 and 9, the Lord says, for I think that the Most High have set forth us the apostles last, as it were appointed, Salakia, as it were approved to death. For we are made a spectacle unto the world, and to angels, and to men. We are fools for Hamashiach's sake, but ye are wise in Hamashiach. We are weak, but ye are strong. Ye are honorable, but we are despised. You see that? So these men, right, coming out in these last days and doing this work, right? These are the men that the Most High set up last, right? And like I said earlier, we've already had all these other religions. We've had all these other doctrines, right? We've had all these different leaders and followed all of these different religions, right? We're done with Buddha. We're done with Haile Selassie. We're done with white Jesus. We're done with Muhammad and Islam. We're done with all of those things. Those things profited us nothing. But here we are in these last days, going back to Second Ezra chapter 1, believing, right? And we're made fools. We're made a spectacle out here in this earth. But all praise to the Most High that He found us worthy to even come out and do this work. He found us worthy to even be able to take His name and magnify it upon the earth, right? Because He could have left us out there. He could have left us out there to be just niggas in the world, right? And it was a Salakia. Had another precept I was thinking about. Salakia. I think it was in. Was it in Salakia? I'm about to close up through the spirit, but it was another precept I was thinking of. Right, but Lord willing to come back to me. Right, but we even had our forefather saying that I wasn't a prophet, neither was I the son of the prophet. Right, but he was tending to the herd. He was tending to the herd. He was tending to cattle. Right, and the Lord called him out of that. Right, to do what? To be a gatherer. Right, of these grapes. To be a man to go out and say, "Thus saith the Lord." So the grapes are out there. The grapes is this wisdom, this knowledge, this understanding. The grapes is right here. But you got to go into this book and start eating of the grapes, right? Because when you leave it to Esau, this is Obadiah 1 and 5, the Lord says, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how wilt thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? You see that? So even when it comes down to, like, when it comes to Esau, Esau don't leave nothing. Right? Esau don't leave anything. Esau will eat everything. And we see that when you deal with the so-called indigenous, right, Americans or Native Americans in this land, they ate and took over everything. They left nothing. You talk to our Northern Kingdom brothers and see how they did our people in so-called Mexico and so-called Honduras and Guatemala, how they did our people in Colombia, Venezuela, how they do our people everywhere on the earth. They done took everything, and now that they done stole everything, now they the Jews, right? Now Jesus is a so-called white man. Now the Most High is a so-called white man, right? And they're one and the same, right? And just everything. They're Jews and they're Ashkenazi and they're the Greeks, right? They're none of those things. They want to be everybody on earth but the Edomites, right? So when you leave it up to them, they're going to steal everything and they're not going to leave anything. And they're not going to leave anything for you uh, uh, to have any outlet for you to seek the Most High properly. That's why we have to open up this Bible ourselves and read it precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little, because that's how we're going to get this understanding. Because if you leave it up to Esau and you follow Esau's Christianity, you're going to get caught out there. You're not eating of the proper grapes. You eating these. Real grapes got seeds in them. When you eat real grapes, you have seeds left over that you can plant and create more grapes. Esau's grapes don't have no seeds in them. That's them GMO grapes. That's the grapes that Esau gonna give you, right? It don't have no nutrient, so like no nutritional value to it, right? You can't reproduce it. You see what I'm saying? You can't flip it. It's just that. And Esau does these things on purpose. I just learned not too long ago that a lot of the trees here in America, they're all male trees. Male trees give off pollen. Female trees take the pollen and create the fruit. So you got a lot of pollen going on the earth, but you don't have no female trees that's producing fruit on the earth. That's why you can't find no apple trees just walking around. They used to be out. Cherry trees, grapes, raspberries, and strawberries. All of these different fruits of the land. They used to all just be in abundance, just out on the ground, just out in the earth, and you don't have none now. It's a bunch of male trees just giving off pollen, right? Because Esau, he destroys everything. That's what he does. But what did Yahweh Shah say, right? And I'm going to close up with this. Revelation chapter 3 and verse 20. Because Yahweh Shah gave us these grapes. What you going to do with them? Revelation 3 and 20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me. You see that? So if Yahweh Shah comes and he knocks on the door, right, to make you a gatherer of the grapes, are you going to gather these grapes, eat some yourself, share it with your brother, share it with your sister, share it with your family, right? Or are you going to not let Yahweh Shah in? Because Yahweh Shah come in, He gonna come into your house and, like brother say, somebody come to your house, you gotta be the one that had a house set up. You gotta be the one that have the spread and have the dinner and everything set up. When Yahweh Shah come, Yahweh Shah showing up with the table. He's showing up with the feast. He's showing up and he's bringing the feast to you. So you're gonna eat. You're gonna eat of the grapes that Yahweh Shah is bringing, or you're gonna be like, nah, I'm good, and not let him in the house, right? So, Lord willing, this was edifying. The grapes and the gatherers, right? So with that, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah Baraka Thumb, Kwam Yasha'Allah, Shalom, Israel. Shalom.